Van life. This is a term that has become more and more mainstream. But why? Living in your vehicle has often been looked down upon. So what's changed? Are people becoming more open-minded towards van life? Maybe social media has shown just how glamorous it can be with all its picturesque locations and luxurious van conversions? Or is it because the freedom it can bring, being able to go wherever you want, whenever you want? Or perhaps it's the fact that van life is something financially achievable for young adults, whereas owning a house seems near impossible these days. Whatever the reason might be, van life is here to stay. And everyone who's taken up van life has their own reason for doing so, which is why in this video I'm going to explain why I personally have taken up van life, and hopefully that will shed some light on why other people have done the same. So be sure to stay to the end of the video, so that way you don't miss anything. Also, I'm going to ask you for an early thumbs up on this video. It really helps out my channel a lot, and it helps me stay motivated to make more content. And I just want to say thank you for everyone who did that, and let's move on to the video. Okay, for those of you who don't know, my name is Brad, and for the last year or so, I've been living full-time in my Chevy Express van conversion. Deciding to move into the van really came down to two different factors. The first being how much freedom van life provides, and the second, just how cost-effective it really can be. And I'm going to just dive a little bit deeper into my particular situation on why these two things were so important. Now, at the time of recording this video, I'm currently living in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. This is where I was born and raised, but because it's such a desirable location within Canada, housing prices have always been higher than most. And as I was younger, housing prices just went up steadily like everywhere else. And because of this, I never really thought much of it. When I became a young adult, I had prioritized traveling over becoming a homeowner. Because I prioritized traveling, 10 years ago, I decided to leave Victoria and go to different countries and experience different cultures. But that's for a different video entirely. Long story short, in 2018, I decided to come back to Victoria and try my hand at a more stable and structured lifestyle. However, when I returned, I discovered that housing prices and rental prices had not only gone up, but they had skyrocketed. And ever since I came back, it hasn't slowed down at all. According to my research, Victoria has been consistently ranked in the top 3 of Canada's most expensive cities to live in. The average house price is now $1.16 million, whereas the median price, which is not far behind, is at $976,000. On average, a 1-bedroom unit costs around $1,600 to rent, and a 2-bedroom is closer to $2,000. Now, when we combine these prices with the average income in Victoria, which is around $60,000 per year, you're going to get a lot of people paying around 50% of their after-tax dollars on their accommodation alone. Add on our basic needs like utilities, food, transportation, or whatever else you might need. That doesn't leave much extra money for saving, and it basically makes it impossible to get yourself ahead financially. Now that you've heard all that information, I know what you must be thinking.
But Brad, why don't you just move somewhere that's cheaper so you don't have to pay as much rent? Or why don't you just get a roommate and share the costs?
And you would be right, because those are some great options that are definitely worth considering. However, when you do consider relocating to somewhere else, there's so many other factors involved. For example, are there going to be many employment opportunities? Would I be happy moving away from friends or family? And given my situation, it just didn't really make sense at the time. As far as living with a roommate, I've tried that many times, and let me just show you how my experiences went. Okay, now that was a little bit dramatic, but you can still see what I'm trying to say. And after a string of really bad roommates, I realized that it was time I lived on my own. However, living in Victoria doesn't leave me with very many options, so I had to look for an alternative. Something that was always on my radar was van life. And having traveled extensively, I realized that van life was very achievable for traveling and saving money on accommodation. So I thought to myself, why can't I use van life in an urban setting where I would be able to have control over my finances while having the freedom that I once had while I was traveling? And once I made the jump into van life, it actually made the transition into the more stable and structured lifestyle that I was trying to achieve a lot easier. Having been traveling and moving around a lot, it was kind of a culture shock coming back to the same place and staying put. So once I was in the van life, I could change my scenery around while still living in the same place, close to friends and family. Now, at the same time of all this, I'm also able to have control over my finances, and it has allowed me to get ahead further than renting ever would have. Now, with all that in mind, I just want to note that I am not the only person who's come to this conclusion. And more people in big cities all around the world are turning to van life because it makes more sense financially. And even if people can't get themselves into a financial position to get into van life in the beginning, they're turning to camping in parks or on beaches or wherever they have available just to make ends meet. Now, if you look in the frame here, there's actually a person camping out right behind me. And throughout this park, there is people camping, there's van lifers. These are just regular people. These are young people, elderly people, people on pensions who just can't afford to pay for rent because either their pension's too small, their wage isn't high enough, or they just have no opportunities to rent anywhere. And to be honest, we can't wait for something to change or for the government to step in to intervene to hopefully make things better. This is happening now, and we have to either adapt to it or we're gonna get left behind. Especially with the state of the world right now, where the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. It's only gonna get worse, and van life gives you the opportunity to take control of your own financial future while also at the same time giving you the freedom to live on your own terms. Will van life be something I do forever? Probably not, but it's a stepping stone in the bigger picture to get myself ahead. Now, I hope this video gave you some insight to why people and why myself have taken up van life, and maybe it's inspired you to do something similar. In exchange for the time it took me to put this video together, all I ask for you is to hit that thumbs up button just down below and subscribe if you haven't done so already, because it's absolutely free for you to do so, and it really helps me out make more videos like this. With that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.